What if I told you that every dollar in your bank account, every opportunity that has ever come your way, and every stroke of luck you've experienced actually began as an invisible thought in someone's mind, possibly even your own? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Now, I know this might sound far-fetched, but stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might completely transform how you view wealth, abundance, and your own untapped potential. You see, that gold sparkling in jewelry store windows, the house providing shelter for a loving family, that thriving business on the corner of your street, none of these things actually originated in a mine, on a piece of land, or through some brilliant economic strategy. They all began much earlier, in what ancient wisdom traditions call the secret chamber of the mind. Has this ever happened to you? You've been thinking about something you really wanted, maybe a better job, financial relief, or a solution to a pressing problem, and then, almost as if by magic, an opportunity presents itself out of nowhere. Most people dismiss this as coincidence, but what if I told you it's actually evidence of a cosmic law that's been operating since the beginning of time? The universe doesn't function like a lottery where winners are chosen randomly, nor does it operate as some chaotic battlefield where only the strongest survive. Instead, it works exactly like the most sophisticated bank you can imagine, one that responds with mathematical precision to properly formatted requests. But here's the catch. This bank doesn't accept cash, checks, or credit cards. Its only accepted currency is sustained thought backed by genuine conviction. Think about it for a moment. Every invention that has ever changed the world, every business empire that has ever been built, every artistic masterpiece that has ever moved the human soul, all of these began as invisible ideas in someone's consciousness before they became visible realities. The visible wealth we see all around us is simply a momentary photograph, a snapshot of thoughts that were held with unwavering faith until they crystallized into physical form. This isn't some New Age philosophy or wishful thinking. This is a principle that has been recognized by successful individuals throughout history, from ancient spiritual masters to modern-day entrepreneurs. They understood that the mind operates like a cosmic bank account, where you can make deposits of clear intentions, sustained thoughts, and genuine emotions, and then withdraw tangible results from the infinite treasury of universal intelligence. But here's where most people get it wrong. They treat this cosmic bank like they're begging for spare change, rather than accessing what's rightfully theirs. They don't realize they already have an account, opened in their name, with unlimited credit, waiting for them to learn the proper procedures for making withdrawals. What you're about to learn in the next few minutes will show you exactly how this cosmic banking system works, and more importantly, how you can start making your first conscious deposits today. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because there's a hidden truth that most people never discover about these cosmic principles. The laws I'm sharing with you aren't some modern self-help invention or trendy mindset technique that someone cooked up in the last century. These are ancient universal principles that have been operating with the same mathematical precision since the very beginning of time itself. If these principles resonated with you the way they have with thousands of others who've transformed their relationship with abundance, I'd love to have you join our community by subscribing. Each week, I share advanced techniques and real-world applications that build upon what we've explored today, creating a complete system for conscious manifestation. Think about it this way. Gravity doesn't care whether you believe in it or not. If you drop something, it falls. The law of cause and effect doesn't require your permission to function. Actions consistently produce results. Similarly, these prosperity principles operate independently of your religious beliefs, your cultural background, or even your current level of understanding. They're as reliable as the laws of physics, as predictable as sunrise and sunset. What's fascinating is that throughout history, every culture has recognized these same fundamental truths, though they've expressed them in different languages and through different traditions. Ancient scriptures speak of them, successful business leaders have applied them, and even modern quantum physics is beginning to validate what our ancestors knew intuitively, that consciousness and reality are far more interconnected than we've been taught to believe. But here's where the real transformation begins to happen. Most people spend their entire lives believing they need permission to prosper. They think they have to earn the right to abundance, prove themselves worthy of success, or wait for someone else to give them the green light. This is perhaps the most destructive belief system ever programmed into human consciousness, because it's completely backwards. The truth is, you already have an invisible account, opened in your name in this cosmic bank. You don't need to apply for it, you don't need to prove your creditworthiness, and you certainly don't need anyone's permission to access what's already yours by spiritual birthright. What you need to learn is how to sign the mental checks that have been waiting for your signature all along. Every time you hold a clear intention in your mind, every moment you visualize your desired outcome with genuine emotion, every instance you affirm your goals with unwavering conviction, you're essentially signing a check drawn on the infinite treasury of universal intelligence. The question isn't whether you have access to these funds. The question is whether you know how to properly endorse and deposit these mental checks. This is where most people's journey gets derailed. They've been conditioned to believe that wanting more is somehow selfish, that desiring abundance is materialistic, or that prosperity is reserved for a lucky few. But what if I told you that your reluctance to claim your spiritual inheritance is actually blocking the flow of good, not just to you, but to everyone whose life you could positively impact if you were operating from a position of abundance rather than scarcity? The universe is designed for expansion, for growth, for the multiplication of good. When you learn to align yourself with these ancient principles, you become a conduit through which greater possibilities can flow into the world. Your prosperity doesn't take away from others. It creates more opportunities for everyone around you to experience their own breakthroughs and transformations. The key is understanding that these aren't magic tricks or wishful thinking exercises. They're practical tools based on how consciousness actually works. When you begin to operate from the understanding that your thoughts are creative forces, that your emotions are magnetic attractors, and that your convictions shape your reality, everything changes. Your decisions become more confident, your actions more purposeful, your entire approach to life more empowered. Now, I want to reveal exactly how you can start applying these principles immediately, beginning with the most fundamental practice that will activate your dormant spiritual account. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to sign my first mental check." The most remarkable thing about this approach is that it's not theoretical. It's been proven to work consistently across different continents, cultures, and circumstances. I'm talking about thousands of real people who have attended conferences throughout Europe and America, individuals who've participated in private consultations, and countless listeners who've tuned into radio broadcasts where these principles were shared. The results speak for themselves, and what's fascinating is the pattern that emerges from all these success stories. You see, this method appears deceptively simple on the surface, but that simplicity is actually its greatest strength. It doesn't require you to have an advanced degree, exceptional talent, or special connections. However, and this is crucial, it does demand something that many people struggle with in our chaotic modern world: order and clarity in your thinking. It's powerful enough to create dramatic life transformations, but it requires you to be crystal clear about what you actually want. If you felt that spark of connection while we explored these concepts together, if something inside you recognized these truths as your own, I'd be grateful if you'd hit that like button. It's a simple way to acknowledge the energy we've shared and help this message reach others who are ready for this understanding. The spiritual aspect of this process might surprise you because it translates directly into material results. We're not talking about abstract philosophical concepts that make you feel good, but leave your bank account unchanged. This is about understanding a fundamental law of creation that operates whether you're conscious of it or not. Every single dollar that has ever existed, every business that has ever prospered, every innovation that has ever improved human life, all of it began as an invisible mental decree before it became a visible reality. Here's what most people don't realize about wealth creation. Your bank balance is simply the physical manifestation of mental decisions you made weeks, months, or even years ago. The money in your account right now is the material evidence of thoughts you sustained with conviction in the past. If you want to change your financial future, you can't just focus on the external circumstances. You have to go to the source, which is your consciousness. This revelation completely transforms how you approach any challenge or goal in your life. Instead of asking, "How can I get more money?" or "Where will the opportunities come from?" you start asking different questions. What mental decree do I need to establish? And how can I sustain this vision with unwavering conviction until it manifests? The behind-the-scenes truth that successful people understand is that they're not actually creating wealth from nothing. They're accessing wealth that already exists in potential form within universal consciousness. Think of it like a vast warehouse filled with every possible solution, opportunity, and resource you could ever need. The warehouse is always fully stocked, but you need the right access code to unlock what you're seeking. Your thoughts, when properly focused and emotionally charged, become that access code. But here's where the journey gets interesting. Most people type in the wrong codes repeatedly because they've never been taught the precise formatting required. They think wanting something badly enough should be sufficient, or they believe that working harder physically will automatically translate into better results. What they're missing is the understanding that consciousness operates according to specific laws, just like any other system. When you learn to align your thinking with these laws, when you discover how to issue clear mental decrees backed by genuine conviction, the material world begins to reorganize itself to match your internal blueprint. The most profound impact this has on your daily decisions is immediate. Instead of reacting to circumstances from a position of limitation, you begin responding from a place of creative possibility. Your entire relationship with challenges shifts because you understand that every problem is simply pointing you toward a solution that already exists in consciousness, waiting for you to claim it through proper mental decree. This doesn't mean you stop taking practical action in the physical world. Quite the opposite. Your actions become more strategic, more purposeful, because they're guided by a clear internal compass rather than desperate attempts to force outcomes through sheer effort. Now, let me share with you the exact technique that transforms these mental decrees from wishful thinking into magnetic forces that attract corresponding opportunities and resources. Write in the comments, "I decree abundance now." The technique I'm about to share represents your invitation to open the most secure account in the entire universe, one that operates through infinite intelligence itself. What makes this account so extraordinary is that it's completely immune to economic crashes, political upheavals, market volatility, or any external circumstances that typically affect traditional wealth. No crisis can devalue its contents, no opinion from others can freeze your access, and no inherited limitations from your family background can prevent you from making withdrawals. This isn't about replacing practical financial planning or ignoring real-world responsibilities. This is about accessing a level of security and abundance that transcends the limitations of conventional thinking. When you understand how to operate this account, you're preparing yourself to write your own destiny, affirm your desired reality, receive what you've claimed, and share abundance by law rather than leaving everything to chance. The foundation of this entire system rests on what I call the law of mental correspondence, and once you grasp this principle, your entire approach to creating change in your life will be transformed forever. This law states that whatever you sustain with genuine conviction in your inner world will find its reflection without exception in your outer world. It's not mystical or magical. It's actually a precise equation that operates with mathematical reliability. Think of your mind as a broadcasting station that's constantly transmitting signals into the universal field of possibility. These signals aren't random. They're composed of your dominant thoughts, your sustained emotions, and your deep-seated beliefs about what's possible for your life. The universe, operating like a perfect mirror, reflects back to you experiences that match the frequency of whatever signals you're consistently broadcasting. There's so much more to explore on this journey of spiritual prosperity, and I'm constantly sharing new insights and breakthrough methods that can accelerate your results. If you're ready to go deeper into these universal laws, hit that subscribe button and become part of a community that's committed to elevating consciousness through practical abundance principles. This revelation changes everything about how you approach your goals and challenges. Instead of hoping that external circumstances will somehow shift in your favor, you begin to understand that you have direct influence over those circumstances through the consistency and clarity of your internal signals. Your outer world becomes a precise feedback system showing you exactly what you've been sustaining in your consciousness. The equation is elegantly simple, yet profoundly powerful. A sustained idea combined with unwavering faith equals concrete manifestation in your physical experience. But here's where most people's journey gets derailed. They underestimate what sustained actually means. They think having a positive thought once or twice should be sufficient to create lasting change. They don't realize that transformation requires the same kind of consistency and persistence that any other significant achievement demands. Your mind is constantly being influenced by conversations, news, social media, and countless other external inputs that can easily knock you off course from your intended direction. The hidden truth behind successful manifestation is that you need to become more deliberate about what you allow to occupy your mental space. Every thought you entertain, every emotion you nurture, every belief you reinforce is either moving you closer to or further away from your desired reality. This is why developing mental discipline becomes so crucial for your transformation. It's not about forcing positive thoughts or pretending problems don't exist. It's about learning to consciously choose which thoughts deserve your sustained attention and emotional investment. When you master this skill, you gain the ability to intentionally program your own experience rather than simply reacting to whatever circumstances present themselves. The impact this has on your decision-making process is immediate and profound. Instead of making choices based on fear, scarcity, or what others might think, you begin making decisions from a place of aligned purpose. You start asking yourself, does this choice support the reality I'm creating, or does it contradict the signals I want to broadcast? Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough, every successful venture, every life transformation, you'll find someone who learned to apply this law of correspondence consistently until their inner conviction became their outer reality. They understood that faith isn't passive hoping. It's active, sustained mental and emotional alignment with their desired outcome. Now, let me reveal the specific steps you can take to activate this law in your own life, starting with a simple but powerful technique that will immediately begin shifting your internal signals. Write in the comments, "My inner world creates my outer world." The technique begins with understanding that you're not trying to access something external to yourself. You're learning to connect with a vast vault that exists within the realm of infinite mind itself. Picture this vault in your imagination. It has no visible doors that can be locked by human hands, no security guards that can deny you entry, no bureaucratic procedures that can delay your access. This vault is composed entirely of mental vibratory substance that is completely moldable and eternal. This isn't just a metaphor. This is the actual cosmic bank where every form of wealth, both visible and invisible, has its true origin. When ancient texts spoke of heaven, the inner kingdom, or the source, they were pointing toward this same infinite treasury of possibilities. Every innovation that has ever improved human life, every solution that has ever resolved a crisis, every opportunity that has ever lifted someone from struggle to success, all of it originated in this vast vault of infinite intelligence. What's both tragic and enlightening is recognizing how most people navigate through life in a state of complete spiritual bankruptcy, completely unaware of this inner treasure vault. They spend their days begging for favors from external circumstances, accumulating objects and achievements, hoping that the next promotion, the next purchase, or the next relationship will finally give them the security and satisfaction they're seeking. Meanwhile, they remain completely disconnected from the true source of everything they desire. The hidden truth behind this spiritual bankruptcy is that people have been conditioned to look everywhere except the one place where their treasure actually resides. They've been taught that wealth comes from working harder, that opportunities come from networking better, that solutions come from thinking smarter. While these external actions certainly play a role, they're secondary to the primary creative force, your capacity to conceive, feel, and believe with unwavering conviction. Your engagement with this content creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond our individual learning. If these insights added value to your journey, a quick tap on the like button helps ensure this wisdom reaches others who are seeking the same transformation you're experiencing. This revelation completely transforms your relationship with every challenge you face. Instead of feeling powerless when confronted with obstacles, you begin to understand that every problem is actually pointing you toward a corresponding solution that already exists in the vault of infinite mind. Your job isn't to create the solution from nothing. It's to align your consciousness with the solution that's already there, waiting for you to claim it. The journey from spiritual bankruptcy to divine access isn't about changing your external circumstances first. It's about recognizing that you already possess the master key to the vault, and that key is your own consciousness properly directed. Every time you conceive of a desired outcome with clarity, feel it with genuine emotion, and believe in its possibility with unshakable faith, you're essentially inputting the access code that opens the vault. What makes this process so powerful is that it operates completely independent of your current circumstances. It doesn't matter if your bank account is empty, if your business is struggling, or if your relationships are strained. The vault of infinite mind contains solutions and resources that transcend every limitation you're currently experiencing. Your access to this vault isn't determined by your past failures or current challenges. It's determined solely by your willingness to shift your focus from external lack to internal abundance. Behind the scenes of every major transformation, you'll find someone who made this crucial shift in understanding. They stopped operating from spiritual bankruptcy and started accessing their divine inheritance. They realized that begging for scraps from external circumstances was unnecessary when they could claim their full portion from the infinite source. The impact this has on your daily decisions becomes immediately apparent. Instead of making choices from desperation or scarcity, you begin making decisions from a place of knowing that you have access to unlimited resources and possibilities. Your entire energy shifts from grasping and striving to allowing and receiving. This shift in energy alone begins to attract different opportunities and outcomes into your experience. Now, let me share with you the precise method for accessing this vault, starting with the fundamental practice that will activate your natural inheritance. Write in the comments, "I have access to infinite abundance." The method I'm sharing isn't theoretical. It's been proven time and again by real people who discovered this hidden truth about the true source of provision. Let me tell you about a London merchant whose transformation perfectly illustrates how quickly this principle can work when applied correctly. This man was struggling with his business, watching his competitors outperform him month after month, convinced that his financial fate was entirely dependent on his suppliers in Manchester. His mindset was trapped in the conventional belief that his income was limited by external factors. Market conditions, supplier reliability, customer demand, economic trends. He was operating from the assumption that his business success was at the mercy of circumstances beyond his control. But then, something remarkable happened that completely shifted his perspective and consequently his results. When he learned about the principle of infinite source, he began to understand that his true supplier wasn't the Manchester wholesalers at all. It was infinite mind itself. This revelation didn't require him to change his business model or find new suppliers. Instead, he simply began affirming daily, "God is my inexhaustible source of provision." Within 2 weeks, his income had doubled. This wasn't luck, coincidence, or some random stroke of fortune. This was universal law in action. What's fascinating about this story is how the external changes manifested. He didn't suddenly discover oil in his backyard or win the lottery. Instead, new opportunities began presenting themselves. Existing customers started placing larger orders, and strategic partnerships emerged seemingly out of nowhere. The same marketplace that had appeared limited and competitive suddenly became abundant with possibilities. This brings us to the most crucial understanding about faith. It's not some vague religious concept or wishful thinking exercise. Faith is actually a defined, measurable energy that has the power to reorganize external conditions based on whatever idea you're holding as dominant in your consciousness. When the Apostle Paul wrote that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, he was describing a spiritual technology that operates with the same reliability as any scientific principle. Think of faith as a check that you sign with your spirit, and that's guaranteed by divine law. Just like a regular check draws on funds that already exist in your bank account, faith draws on resources that already exist in the infinite vault of universal intelligence. The key difference is that this spiritual account never runs dry, never gets frozen, and never charges you fees for accessing what's rightfully yours. The content I share on this channel is designed for people who are serious about creating lasting transformation, not just temporary motivation. If you're someone who values depth over superficiality and is committed to applying these principles consistently, I invite you to subscribe and join others who are walking this path of conscious abundance. The behind-the-scenes reality is that faith operates as a reorganizing force in your experience. When you sustain a clear idea with genuine conviction, faith begins to rearrange circumstances, attract opportunities, and create synchronicities that align with your dominant mental picture. This isn't about forcing outcomes through willpower. It's about aligning your consciousness with solutions that already exist and allowing them to manifest through the natural flow of universal intelligence. Your decisions become dramatically different when you understand faith as a measurable energy rather than a religious hope. Instead of making choices based on what seems possible according to current circumstances, you begin making decisions based on what you know is possible according to universal law. This shift in decision-making creates an entirely different trajectory for your life. The impact extends far beyond financial matters. Whether you're dealing with health challenges, relationship issues, career transitions, or any other area where you desire transformation, the same principle applies. Faith becomes your access key to solutions that transcend the limitations of conventional thinking. What's particularly powerful about this approach is that it doesn't require you to understand exactly how the external changes will occur. Your job is to maintain the inner conviction while allowing infinite intelligence to handle the details of manifestation. The London merchant didn't need to figure out the logistics of doubling his income. He simply needed to sustain his connection to the infinite source. Now, let me reveal the specific technique for developing this kind of measurable faith, beginning with a practice that will immediately strengthen your connection to the infinite source of all provision. Write in the comments, "Faith is my spiritual technology." The technique for developing this spiritual technology begins with a fundamental recognition that will completely transform how you view everything around you. Look around your environment right now. The gold stored in banks, the money in people's wallets, the houses providing shelter, the cars transporting families. Every single visible thing you see is actually a temporary materialization of deeply believed mental ideas. There are absolutely no exceptions to this principle. Everything visible was born from the invisible realm residing in human consciousness. This revelation shifts your entire perspective on wealth creation because it means that every fortune, every innovation, every successful enterprise you've ever encountered first existed as an idea in someone's mind before it became a physical reality. The entrepreneurs who built the companies you admire, the inventors who created the technologies you use, the artists who produce the works that move you, they all understood, consciously or unconsciously, that the invisible realm of thought is the true birthplace of all manifestation. What's particularly fascinating is understanding how this process operates in your own daily experience. Your current financial situation, your living circumstances, your career trajectory, all of these are simply the external expressions of mental patterns you've been sustaining over time. This doesn't mean you're to blame for any challenges you're facing, but it does mean you have far more creative power than you've been taught to believe. The hidden truth behind sustainable abundance lies in understanding that divine provision operates like the manna that sustained Moses and the Israelites during their journey through the desert. Each day exactly what was needed appeared, but it couldn't be hoarded or stored for future security. If they tried to save it for tomorrow, it would spoil. The lesson embedded in this ancient story is profound. Divine provision is daily, punctual, and exact, but it requires present consciousness rather than anxious hoarding. This principle challenges one of the most deeply rooted fears in human psychology, the fear of not having enough. Most people spend enormous amounts of mental and emotional energy trying to accumulate security for an uncertain future. But this very mindset of scarcity actually blocks the natural flow of provision. When you're constantly worried about tomorrow's needs, you're not fully present to receive today's opportunities. Behind the scenes of every person who seems to effortlessly attract abundance, you'll find someone who has learned to trust in daily provision rather than attempting to control future outcomes through accumulation. They understand that the same intelligence that creates manna in the desert, that causes flowers to bloom at the perfect time, that orchestrates the precise movements of planets, this same intelligence is completely capable of providing exactly what they need when they need it. Your transformation begins when you shift from anxious planning to present moment awareness. This doesn't mean you stop making practical preparations or ignore responsible financial planning. It means you stop making decisions from fear of scarcity and start making choices from trust in continuous provision. The impact on your decision-making process is immediate. Instead of grasping and hoarding, you begin flowing and sharing. There's something beautiful about the connection that forms when truth is shared and received with an open heart. If you felt that connection during our time together today, I'd love for you to express it with a like. It's your way of saying these principles landed exactly where they were meant to. This shift in consciousness actually accelerates your ability to receive because you're no longer energetically blocked by fear and control. When you trust in daily provision, you become more generous, more creative, more open to opportunities, and more willing to take inspired action. These qualities naturally attract more abundance because you're operating in harmony with the universal principle of circulation rather than fighting against it through hoarding. The journey from scarcity consciousness to abundance consciousness requires developing what I call present moment receptivity. This means training yourself to recognize and receive the provisions that are constantly being offered to you, rather than being so focused on future security that you miss present opportunities. Every day brings its own form of manna, whether that's a new idea, an unexpected conversation, a timely opportunity, or a solution to a current challenge. Now let me share with you the specific daily practice that will attune your consciousness to recognize and receive this continuous flow of provision. Write in the comments, I trust in daily divine provision. The specific daily practice I want to share with you is remarkably simple, yet incredibly powerful in its ability to attune your consciousness to the continuous flow of abundance that's always available. This practice begins with understanding that your mind, like fertile soil, must be properly prepared before you can implant the seeds of your desired outcomes. Just as a farmer wouldn't scatter seeds on hard, unprepared ground and expect a harvest, you can't expect manifestation to occur in a consciousness that hasn't been prepared for reception. The preparation process starts with a 5-minute visualization exercise that immediately shifts your mental and emotional state from scarcity to abundance. Find a quiet space where you won't be interrupted. Close your eyes and begin to visualize a river of pure, golden light flowing directly toward you. This isn't just a mental picture. You want to engage all your senses and emotions in this experience. See the golden flow approaching you with abundance and prosperity. Feel the warmth and energy of this divine provision. As you continue with this visualization, imagine bills of various denominations gently raining down onto your desk, your workspace, your environment. Don't think about where they're coming from or how they could possibly appear. Just allow yourself to experience the feeling of abundance surrounding you. Feel the vibration of a bank account that's constantly rising. Sense the security and peace that comes with knowing you're provided for completely. The crucial moment comes when you complete this visualization by making a declaration that seals the experience. I now receive from God's eternal deposit. I am at peace. I am provided. This statement isn't a request or a hope. It's a declaration of your current reality. You're not asking for something to happen in the future. You're acknowledging what's already true in the spiritual realm and allowing it to manifest in your physical experience. Behind the scenes of this seemingly simple exercise, you're actually programming your subconscious mind to recognize and attract circumstances that align with this state of provision. Your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what you're visualizing and what you're experiencing. It simply accepts whatever you present to it with sufficient emotion and repetition as reality and begins to create corresponding experiences. The mental programming that occurs through this preparation is similar to how a computer receives new software instructions. Your mind has been running certain programs about money, success, and provision for years, many of them inherited from family beliefs, cultural conditioning, or past disappointments. This visualization exercise begins to overwrite those limiting programs with new instructions, based on abundance, trust, and divine provision. What makes this practice so effective is that it creates the 3 essential conditions for manifestation: calm, faith, and acceptance. The calm comes from the peaceful state induced by the visualization, removing the anxious energy that typically blocks abundance. Faith develops as you repeatedly experience the feeling of being provided for, even before external circumstances change. Acceptance grows as you become comfortable with the idea of receiving abundance without struggle or guilt. Your transformation happens not through forcing external circumstances to change, but through preparing your internal environment to recognize and receive the good that's constantly trying to reach you. Most people miss opportunities because their minds are so cluttered with worry, doubt, and scarcity, thinking that they can't perceive the provision that's already available. The impact this preparation has on your daily decisions becomes immediately apparent. Instead of making choices from desperation or fear, you begin operating from a place of inner security. This shift in your energy field alone begins to attract different types of opportunities and interactions into your experience. Now, let me reveal the advanced technique that amplifies this foundation and creates even more powerful results in your manifestation practice. Write in the comments, "My mind is prepared for abundance." The advanced technique that amplifies your manifestation practice centers around understanding the precise structure of effective spiritual communication. Most people approach prayer or affirmation in a scattered, unfocused way that actually works against the very thing they're trying to achieve. They alternate between begging, hoping, worrying, and occasionally believing, creating a mixed signal that confuses the cosmic mechanism rather than activating it clearly. True spiritual communication operates through a specific formula that creates immediate alignment with the universal laws of supply. This formula contains three essential elements that must work together seamlessly. The first element is recognition, acknowledging that God is my source, not your job, not the economy, not other people's decisions, but the infinite intelligence that governs all creation. This recognition instantly connects you to unlimited possibilities rather than the limitations of external circumstances. The second element is acceptance, where you declare, "I now receive," rather than "I hope to receive someday," or "I wonder if I might receive." This present tense acceptance sends a clear signal to your subconscious mind that the desired outcome is already a reality in the spiritual realm, waiting to manifest in the physical world. The power of acceptance lies in its ability to bypass doubt and fear, creating a direct pathway for manifestation. The third element is gratitude, where you say, "Thank you, Father," because it is already done. This isn't gratitude for something you hope will happen. It's gratitude for something you know has already been established in the invisible realm. This gratitude activates what I call the cosmic mechanism of supply, setting in motion a series of synchronicities and opportunities that align perfectly with your declared intention. What's remarkable about this formula is how it transforms your entire relationship with the source of all abundance. Instead of operating like someone who's desperately trying to convince a reluctant universe to help them, you begin operating like someone who understands their rightful inheritance and is simply claiming what already belongs to them. This shift in consciousness creates an entirely different energy signature that attracts corresponding experiences. Behind the scenes of this process, you're actually accessing what functions like a cosmic bank that operates on completely different principles than any earthly financial institution. This cosmic bank knows no inflation that can devalue your holdings, no recession that can limit your access, no bankruptcy that can close your account. Its capital is literally eternal because it draws from the infinite creative intelligence that governs the entire universe. The hidden truth about this cosmic bank is that its solvency is absolutely unquestionable. While earthly banks require collateral, credit checks, and complex approval processes, this spiritual account requires only one thing: your persistent faith as the sole requirement for unlimited access. You don't need to prove your worthiness, demonstrate your track record, or provide guarantees about how you'll use what you receive. This revelation completely transforms your decision-making process because you're no longer operating from scarcity or limitation. When you truly understand that you have access to unlimited resources through persistent faith, you stop making choices based on fear of running out or not having enough. Instead, you begin making decisions from a place of abundance, creativity, and generous service. The impact on your daily mindset becomes profound. Instead of constantly calculating whether you can afford something or whether an opportunity is worth the risk, you start asking different questions. Is this aligned with my highest good? And how can this serve the greater expansion of abundance in my life and the lives of others? Your entire approach to challenges shifts when you understand this cosmic banking system. Problems stop looking like insurmountable obstacles and start appearing as opportunities to demonstrate the power of persistent faith. Every difficulty becomes a chance to prove to yourself that the cosmic bank never fails those who understand how to access it properly. Now let me share with you the most powerful technique for maintaining the persistent faith that keeps your cosmic account active and accessible. Write in the comments, "I have unlimited cosmic credit." The most powerful technique for maintaining persistent faith revolves around a profound understanding that will completely liberate you from conventional thinking about limitation. The truth is, you are not limited by your job title, your current salary, your geographic location, your educational background, or any other external circumstance that you might be tempted to blame for your current situation. The only genuine limitation you face exists in the realm of your own mental concepts about what's possible for your life. This revelation is both liberating and challenging because it places the responsibility for transformation squarely on your own consciousness rather than on changing external circumstances. When you truly grasp that expanding your inner vision automatically causes the universe to expand your external provision, you realize that you've been looking for solutions in all the wrong places. Every limitation you've experienced has been self-imposed through the boundaries of your own conceptual thinking. The hidden truth behind every major breakthrough is that someone chose to think beyond the apparent limitations of their circumstances. They refused to accept that their current reality represented the full scope of their possibilities. Instead, they cultivated an inner vision that transcended their external conditions, and that expanded vision became the blueprint for their transformed experience. Your transformation begins when you stop asking, "How can I change my circumstances?" and start asking, "How can I expand my consciousness?" The shift in focus creates an entirely different trajectory because you're working with the creative principle rather than fighting against apparent obstacles. Behind the scenes of every success story, you'll find someone who learned to think bigger than their current reality. Now let me share with you a specific technique that dramatically accelerates this expansion of consciousness while simultaneously releasing the anxiety and doubt that typically sabotage manifestation efforts. This method, which I call the sealed letter technique, works by engaging your subconscious mind in a way that bypasses the logical resistance of your conscious thoughts. Here's how this powerful technique operates. You write down your desire as if it were already an accomplished fact, not as something you hope will happen in the future. You describe your ideal outcome using present tense language that assumes complete fulfillment. For example, instead of writing, "I want to earn more money," you would write, "I'm so grateful that I now earn exactly the income I desire, and it flows to me easily and consistently through work that I love." The crucial part of this technique comes next. You seal this written declaration in an envelope and commit to not opening it for an entire month. This simple act accomplishes something profound in your consciousness. By sealing the letter, you're symbolically releasing your desire to the universe while simultaneously impressing it deeply into your subconscious mind. The act of not opening it prevents you from constantly second-guessing, editing, or undermining your original intention with doubt and analysis. What makes this technique so effective is how it works with the natural psychology of manifestation. Your conscious mind loves to interfere with the manifestation process through worry, planning, and constant mental interference. But your subconscious mind works best when it's given a clear instruction and then left alone to execute it without conscious interference. The sealed letter creates the perfect conditions for this subconscious cooperation. During the month that your letter remains sealed, something remarkable happens in your consciousness. Because you're not constantly revisiting and revising your desire, your subconscious mind accepts it as reality and begins to organize your perceptions, decisions, and actions around this new reality. You start noticing opportunities you would have missed before, making decisions that align with your declared outcome, and attracting circumstances that support your intended result. The impact on your daily mindset becomes immediately apparent. Instead of constantly struggling to maintain positive thoughts or forcing yourself to believe something that feels uncertain, you experience a sense of peaceful knowing that your desire has been submitted to the universe for processing. This reduces anxiety while increasing your natural receptivity to inspired action and unexpected opportunities. Now, let me reveal what happens when you combine this sealed letter technique with the advanced method that multiplies its effectiveness exponentially. Write in the comments, "My subconscious is working for me." The advanced method that multiplies the effectiveness of the sealed letter technique involves understanding the precise timing for maximum subconscious imprinting. There's a specific window of consciousness that opens twice every day, a brief but incredibly powerful moment when your subconscious mind becomes completely receptive to new programming. This window occurs during what's called the hypnagogic state, that twilight moment between waking and sleeping when your conscious mind relaxes its protective barriers. Most people completely miss this golden opportunity because they're either rushing to fall asleep or immediately jumping into their day upon waking. But when you learn to consciously use this hypnagogic state, you gain access to the direct programming center of your subconscious mind. During these precious moments, your brain waves shift into a frequency that bypasses critical thinking and allows new ideas to be planted directly into your mental soil. The technique is elegantly simple, yet profoundly effective. As you're drifting off to sleep or just beginning to wake up, you softly pronounce your key affirmation with genuine feeling, like planting a seed in the most fertile earth with absolute certainty that it will bear fruit. This isn't about mechanical repetition, it's about impressing your desired outcome into your consciousness during the moment when your mind is most receptive to transformation. What makes this timing so powerful is that your subconscious mind operates most freely when your conscious mind isn't interfering with logical objections, past limitations, or analytical resistance. During the hypnagogic state, you can implant new beliefs, desired outcomes, and positive expectations without the usual mental chatter that typically sabotages your manifestation efforts. Behind the scenes of this process, your subconscious mind accepts whatever you present during this receptive state as instructions for your reality creation. Unlike your conscious mind, which constantly evaluates and judges information, your subconscious simply accepts and begins organizing your experience around whatever you've impressed upon it with sufficient emotion and repetition. However, there's a crucial step that most people overlook, and this oversight can completely block the effectiveness of even the most perfectly timed affirmations. Before making any mental deposit into your subconscious storehouse, you must first clean your mental account of accumulated emotional debris. Just as a farmer must clear weeds before planting new crops, you must clear emotional blockages before impressing new desires. The hidden truth about manifestation blocks is that resentment, guilt, and fear act like spiritual toxins that prevent your desired outcomes from taking root in your consciousness. These negative emotions create a vibrational static that interferes with the clear transmission of your intentions to the universal field of possibilities. No matter how perfectly you time your affirmations or how clearly you visualize your goals, unresolved emotional baggage will sabotage your results. The clearing process is remarkably simple, yet incredibly effective. Before engaging in any manifestation practice, use this powerful cleansing prayer. I forgive and release everyone. I forgive and release myself. Now I am clean to receive my good. This isn't about condoning harmful behavior or pretending problems don't exist. It's about freeing yourself from the energetic chains that keep you trapped in limitation. Your transformation accelerates dramatically when you understand that forgiveness is actually a selfish act in the best possible way. You're not forgiving others for their benefit. You're forgiving them to free up your own creative energy for manifestation. Every moment you spend holding on to resentment or guilt is energy that could be channeled into creating your desired reality. The impact of this clearing process on your manifestation abilities is immediate and profound. When you release emotional blockages, your affirmations carry more power, your visualizations feel more real, and your capacity to receive good increases exponentially. It's like removing static from a radio signal. Suddenly everything becomes clear and strong. Your daily practice becomes incredibly potent when you combine the clearing prayer with the hypnagogic state technique. The clearing creates the perfect conditions, and the timing ensures maximum receptivity, creating a powerful synergy that accelerates your results beyond what either technique could accomplish alone. Now let me share with you the breakthrough understanding about how to maintain this clear, receptive state throughout your waking hours, ensuring that your manifestation momentum continues building even when you're not consciously working on it. Write in the comments, I release all blocks to my good. The breakthrough understanding about maintaining this clear, receptive state involves a fundamental shift in how you formulate your desires and communicate with infinite intelligence. Most people severely limit their manifestation results by being too specific about the external form their good should take, rather than focusing on the internal states and conditions they truly want to experience. For example, instead of requesting a red car with leather seats and a sunroof, which locks infinite mind into your limited vision of how your transportation needs should be met, you would request full, comfortable, and safe mobility that brings me joy and serves my highest good. This approach allows the cosmic intelligence to survey all possibilities and deliver solutions that exceed what your conscious mind could have imagined. The hidden truth behind this principle is that you often don't actually want the specific object you think you want. You want the state or feeling that you believe the object will provide. When you focus on the desired state rather than the specific form, you open yourself to receive that feeling through channels that may be far superior to your original limited request. Divine creativity operates on a scale that dwarfs human imagination, but it can only work optimally when you don't constrain it with overly specific demands. Your transformation accelerates when you begin thinking in terms of states of being rather than having. Instead of, I want more money, you might request abundant flow and financial freedom. Instead of, I need a better job, you could affirm, fulfilling work that utilizes my talents and provides generous compensation. This shift in language creates space for solutions that perfectly match your deepest needs rather than just your surface wants. Behind the scenes of this process, you're actually working with the Trinity seal of consciousness that activates the most powerful cosmic mechanism available to human beings. This Trinity seal operates through three distinct but interconnected phases that must work together seamlessly to produce consistent manifestation results. The first element of this Trinity is recognition, where you acknowledge the true source of all good in your life. This isn't just intellectual understanding, it's a deep emotional knowing that infinite intelligence is the ultimate provider of every blessing, opportunity, and solution you'll ever receive. When you recognize this source with genuine conviction, you immediately connect to unlimited possibilities rather than the apparent limitations of your current circumstances. The second element is acceptance, where you claim the good you desire as already belonging to you in the spiritual realm. This isn't wishful thinking or positive affirmation. It's a fundamental shift in your identity from someone who hopes to receive to someone who knows they already possess what they're seeking. Acceptance bypasses the mental resistance that typically delays manifestation by eliminating the gap between desire and fulfillment. The third element is gratitude, where you give thanks before seeing physical evidence of your desired outcome. This gratitude isn't based on hope or faith in future delivery. It's based on recognition that the spiritual reality has already been established and physical manifestation is simply a matter of divine timing. When you can genuinely feel grateful for something before it appears in your experience, you're operating at the highest level of spiritual technology. The combination of these three elements creates what I call the cosmic mechanism activation, a powerful synergy that aligns every aspect of your being with your desired outcome. Your thoughts, emotions, and energy field begin broadcasting a unified signal that attracts corresponding experiences with magnetic force. This isn't about convincing the universe to help you. It's about aligning yourself with laws that are always operating perfectly. Your decision-making process becomes completely different when you operate through this Trinity seal. Instead of making choices based on fear, scarcity, or external pressure, you begin making decisions from a place of recognized abundance, accepted good, and grateful certainty. This shift in decision-making alone begins to attract different types of opportunities and results into your experience. The impact on your daily mindset is profound because you stop operating like someone who's trying to get something and start functioning like someone who's managing something they already possess. This change in energy creates an entirely different trajectory for your life. Now, let me reveal the advanced technique that maintains this Trinity seal activation throughout challenging circumstances, ensuring your manifestation momentum continues even when external conditions seem to contradict your desired reality. Write in the comments, "I activate the cosmic mechanism now." The advanced technique that maintains this Trinity seal activation during challenging circumstances involves creating a tangible bridge between your inner conviction and your daily experience. This bridge takes the form of what I call the visual check technique, a deceptively simple practice that transforms abstract spiritual concepts into concrete daily reinforcement of your desired reality. Here's how this powerful technique works. You create a visual representation of a check on a white card, written out to yourself for the exact amount or outcome you're manifesting. But here's the crucial difference. You write this check in affirmative, present tense language, as if the transaction has already been completed. For instance, instead of "I will receive $10,000, you write "received with gratitude, complete financial freedom and abundant flow." The genius of this technique lies not in asking the universe to process your request, but in training your consciousness to operate from the understanding that the spiritual transaction has already been completed. When you carry this visual check in your wallet and review it morning and night, you're not hoping for something to happen. You're reminding yourself of what has already been established in the invisible realm. Behind the scenes of this practice, something profound occurs in your psychological and energetic field. Every time you look at that check and visualize it as already cashed, you're reinforcing the neural pathways associated with abundance and fulfillment. Your subconscious mind begins to accept this reality as truth, and your energy field starts broadcasting the frequency of someone who has already received what they desired. What makes this technique particularly powerful during challenging circumstances is that it provides a tangible anchor for your faith when external conditions seem to contradict your intended reality. When bills pile up, when opportunities seem scarce, when others doubt your vision, you have this physical reminder that keeps you connected to the spiritual truth of your situation rather than being overwhelmed by temporary appearances. This brings us to understanding faith as the legal currency of the invisible kingdom, not as some vague religious feeling or hopeful sentiment, but as the actual emotional energy that activates and empowers every word you speak. Your faith level is literally your credit rating in the cosmic banking system, determining not whether you can access abundance, but how quickly and easily your desired outcomes manifest in your experience. The hidden truth about faith is that it operates with the same precision as any financial system. Just as your bank account balance reflects your deposits and withdrawals, your external world mirrors your internal faith balance with perfect accuracy. Every experience you're having right now is a direct reflection of the faith deposits you've been making in your consciousness over time. Your transformation happens when you begin treating faith as a measurable resource that you can consciously build and invest, rather than something that randomly comes and goes based on circumstances. When you understand that faith is emotional energy, you realize that you can generate more of it through practices like the visual check technique, gratitude exercises, and positive expectation training. The impact this has on your decision-making becomes immediately apparent because you stop making choices based on current appearances and start making decisions based on the reality you're creating through sustained faith. This shift in decision-making alone begins to attract different types of opportunities because you're operating from abundance consciousness rather than scarcity thinking. Your daily mindset undergoes a complete transformation when you recognize that every moment presents you with a choice. You can either make a faith deposit that strengthens your manifestation momentum, or you can make a doubt withdrawal that weakens your creative power. The visual check serves as a constant reminder to choose faith deposits throughout your day. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough, you'll find someone who learned to maintain their faith balance regardless of external circumstances. They understood that their inner conviction was creating their outer experience, not the other way around. Now, let me share with you the most sophisticated technique for exponentially increasing your faith deposits while simultaneously protecting yourself from the doubt withdrawals that typically sabotage manifestation efforts. Write in the comments, "Faith is my spiritual currency." The most sophisticated technique for exponentially increasing your faith deposits while protecting against doubt withdrawals involves understanding the precise preparation required before any spiritual communication. Most people rush into affirmations and prayers without preparing their internal system, which is like trying to tune into a radio station while there's static interference. The signal gets through, but it's weak, distorted, and inconsistent. The preparation process begins with what I call the 4-4-4 rhythmic breathing technique, a simple but powerful method that immediately harmonizes your body, mind, and emotions into perfect receptivity. This technique involves inhaling slowly for 4 counts, holding that breath for 4 counts, then exhaling completely for 4 counts. When you repeat this cycle 5 times before any manifestation practice, you create the optimal internal conditions for spiritual communication. What's happening behind the scenes during this Rhythmic breathing is that you're synchronizing your nervous system, calming your mental chatter, and stabilizing your emotional field. Your body releases tension, your mind becomes more focused, and your emotions reach a state of peaceful expectancy. This harmonized state makes your consciousness incredibly receptive to new programming, while simultaneously strengthening your capacity to generate authentic feeling. The hidden truth about manifestation that most people never discover is that the universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to the vibrational tone that accompanies those words. You could repeat an affirmation 1,000 times with mechanical precision, but if there's no genuine feeling behind it, you're essentially broadcasting static into the creative field. Conversely, one affirmation charged with absolute certainty and authentic emotion can be worth more than 100 mechanical repetitions. Your transformation accelerates dramatically when you understand that authentic feeling is the actual activating force behind all manifestation. The words you speak are simply the delivery system for the emotional energy that does the real work. This is why some people can affirm something once with deep conviction and see immediate results, while others can repeat the same words for months without any noticeable change. The difference lies not in the volume of repetition, but in the quality of emotion generated during the practice. When you prepare your system with rhythmic breathing, you create space for genuine feeling to arise naturally, rather than trying to force positive emotions over underlying doubt or resistance. This authentic emotional state becomes the vibrational signature that attracts corresponding experiences into your life. Behind the scenes of every instantaneous manifestation, you'll find someone who achieved perfect alignment between their words and their emotional conviction. They weren't trying to convince themselves or the universe of anything. They were simply expressing a truth that they felt completely in their being. This level of authentic conviction creates such a powerful vibrational transmission that the physical world has no choice but to reorganize itself around that signal. Your daily practice becomes incredibly potent when you prioritize quality over quantity. Instead of mindlessly repeating affirmations throughout the day, you focus on creating a few moments of perfect alignment where your breathing, your words, and your emotions are completely synchronized. These moments of alignment carry more manifestation power than hours of half-hearted repetition. The impact on your decision-making process becomes immediate because you start recognizing the difference between thoughts that carry emotional conviction and thoughts that are merely intellectual concepts. You begin making choices based on what feels genuinely exciting and aligned rather than what sounds logical or safe. This shift in decision-making attracts opportunities that resonate with your authentic desires rather than your conditioned expectations. Your journey into authentic manifestation requires developing what I call emotional integrity, the ability to distinguish between genuine feeling and manufactured positivity. When you're connected to authentic emotion, your affirmations feel natural and powerful. When you're trying to force positive thinking over genuine concerns, your words feel hollow and ineffective. Now let me reveal the breakthrough understanding about how to generate authentic positive emotion, even in challenging circumstances, ensuring that your manifestation practice remains powerful regardless of external conditions. Write in the comments, "I choose authentic feeling over empty words." The breakthrough understanding about generating authentic positive emotion, even in challenging circumstances, centers around a principle that most people completely overlook in their manifestation journey. The universe operates with mathematical precision, responding not to vague hopes or general desires, but to clearly defined requests that contain specific, measurable outcomes. When your desires are fuzzy and undefined, your emotional connection to them remains weak, making it nearly impossible to generate the authentic feeling required for manifestation. This revelation transforms everything about how you approach your spiritual practice because it reveals that precision actually enhances your emotional connection rather than diminishing it. When you write a detailed declaration like, "I now receive $10,000 monthly debt-free from harmonious legal sources, manifesting before September 30th, you're not limiting the universe. You're giving your emotions something concrete to connect with, and your faith something specific to embrace. The hidden truth behind this precision principle is that vague desires produce vague results, because your subconscious mind needs clear instructions to execute your intentions effectively. When you say, "I want more money," or "I desire better health," your subconscious doesn't know exactly what to create, so it produces scattered, inconsistent results that match the unclear nature of your request. But when you provide precise, measurable specifications, your entire internal system aligns around that clear target. Behind the scenes of every major manifestation, you'll find someone who learned to translate their general desires into specific written declarations that contained exact details, timelines, and outcomes. They understood that the universe responds to clarity the same way a computer responds to precise programming code, with perfect execution when the instructions are clear, with confusion and errors when the input is vague. This brings us to one of the most powerful biblical principles for manifestation found in Habakkuk 2:2, which instructs, "Write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it." This ancient wisdom reveals that dreams and visions must be transformed into written clarity before they can manifest in physical reality. The act of writing forces you to move from abstract hoping to concrete planning, from wishful thinking to precise intention. Your transformation accelerates when you understand that clarity is literally the vehicle of faith, while precision becomes the language of manifestation. When you can describe exactly what you want with specific details, your faith has something solid to attach to, rather than floating around in hopeful uncertainty. This specificity actually strengthens your emotional connection because your mind can create vivid, detailed images that generate genuine excitement and anticipation. The impact on your daily mindset becomes profound because written precision eliminates the mental wandering that typically weakens manifestation efforts. Instead of spending energy on constantly reformulating your desires or wondering if you're asking for the right things, you have a clear written contract with the universe that focuses all your creative energy in one direction. Your decision-making process becomes dramatically more powerful when you're working from written clarity rather than mental vagueness. Every choice you make can be evaluated against your specific written vision, making it easier to recognize opportunities that align with your intentions and avoid distractions that pull you off course. The journey from vague hoping to precise manifestation requires developing what I call visionary literacy, the ability to translate your inner knowing into clear, written specifications that activate both your logical mind and your emotional nature. When you achieve this integration, your written visions become magnetic attractors that draw corresponding opportunities and resources into your experience. Behind the scenes of this writing process, something remarkable occurs in your consciousness. The act of committing your vision to written form sends a powerful signal to your subconscious that you're serious about this outcome, causing it to reorganize your perceptions, decisions, and actions around achieving that specific result. Now, let me share with you the advanced technique for transforming written visions into living, breathing realities through the power of compound spiritual interest. Write in the comments, "My vision is written with precision." The advanced technique for transforming written visions into living, breathing realities involves creating what I call a spiritual accounting notebook, a powerful tool that elevates your manifestation practice from casual hoping to professional-level spiritual planning. This notebook operates on the same principle as any successful business accounting system, except instead of tracking monetary transactions, you're tracking the precise deposits and withdrawals you're making in the cosmic bank of infinite intelligence. The transformation that occurs when you begin keeping detailed spiritual records is immediate and profound. Instead of treating prayer and affirmation as abstract spiritual activities, you start approaching them with the same precision and intentionality that successful entrepreneurs bring to their financial planning. You record exact amounts desired, specific timelines for manifestation, and detailed descriptions of how you intend to use what you're requesting. This level of specificity transforms prayer from wishful thinking into precise planning. Behind the scenes of this practice, you're actually giving your subconscious mind the kind of clear, detailed instructions it needs to coordinate the complex orchestration of circumstances required for manifestation. Your subconscious operates like the most sophisticated project management system imaginable, but it can only work as effectively as the quality of instructions it receives. Vague requests produce scattered results, while precise specifications generate focused, coordinated action. What makes this spiritual accounting approach so powerful is how it activates the principle of compound spiritual interest, one of the most overlooked laws of manifestation. Just as financial investments generate compound interest over time, every mental deposit you make in your consciousness generates spiritual interest and remains active in the creative field. The crucial difference is that in the spiritual realm, this interest isn't measured in monetary percentages, but in degrees of inner conviction and emotional certainty. Your transformation accelerates exponentially when you understand that ideas affirmed with constancy and genuine emotion don't just maintain their original strength. They actually grow in power over time until they manifest with irresistible force. Each repetition of a clearly defined, emotionally charged intention adds another layer of conviction to your consciousness, building momentum that eventually becomes unstoppable. The hidden truth about this compound spiritual interest is that it operates whether you're conscious of it or not. Every thought you think repeatedly, every emotion you sustain consistently, every belief you reinforce through repetition, is either building positive momentum toward your desired outcomes or creating negative momentum that attracts unwanted experiences. The spiritual accounting notebook helps you become conscious of these mental deposits so you can direct them intentionally. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough, you'll find someone who learned to work with this compound interest principle consistently over time. They understood that manifestation isn't about trying harder or wanting more desperately. It's about making regular, precise deposits of intention and emotion until the accumulated spiritual interest reaches the tipping point where physical manifestation becomes inevitable. Your daily mindset undergoes a complete transformation when you start thinking like a spiritual investor rather than a spiritual beggar. Instead of hoping that good things will happen to you randomly, you begin making deliberate investments of attention, emotion, and conviction that you know will generate compound returns over time. This shift from passive hoping to active investing changes everything about how you approach challenges and opportunities. The impact on your decision-making becomes immediately apparent because you start evaluating every choice based on whether it will generate positive or negative spiritual interest in your consciousness. You become more selective about what thoughts you entertain, what emotions you cultivate, and what beliefs you reinforce, knowing that all of these elements are either building toward your desired future or undermining it. Your journey into conscious manifestation requires developing what I call spiritual financial literacy, the ability to track, measure, and optimize your mental and emotional investments for maximum return. When you master this skill, you gain the ability to predict and influence your future experiences with remarkable accuracy. Now, let me reveal the most sophisticated method for recognizing and interpreting the signals that indicate your spiritual investments are about to pay dividends in your physical experience. Write in the comments, "I am a conscious spiritual investor." The most sophisticated method for recognizing when your spiritual investments are about to pay dividends involves creating what I call the Wheel of Affirmations, a systematic approach that maintains continuous vibratory momentum throughout your day. Unlike sporadic positive thinking or occasional prayer sessions, this technique establishes specific trigger points throughout your daily routine when you repeat your key affirmation, creating an unbroken energetic field that keeps your intention alive and active in the creative plane. The genius of this approach lies in how it works with your natural daily rhythms rather than requiring you to carve out separate time for spiritual practice. You might repeat your affirmation when church bells chime, when your phone alarm sounds, at the top of every hour, or whenever you hear certain environmental cues. These scattered repetitions throughout the day create a continuous broadcasting system that maintains your vibrational signature regardless of what else is happening in your external circumstances. Behind the scenes of this practice, you're actually training your consciousness to hold a consistent frequency that matches your desired outcome. Most people's manifestation efforts fail because their vibrational state fluctuates wildly throughout the day. They feel positive during their morning meditation, then worry during their commute, feel optimistic during lunch, then doubt themselves by evening. This inconsistent broadcasting creates mixed signals that confuse the manifestation process. The transformation that occurs when you maintain consistent vibrational momentum is remarkable because your entire energy field begins operating like a magnetic attractor for opportunities, resources, and synchronicities that align with your stated intention. You stop being at the mercy of random circumstances and start becoming a deliberate creator of your experience through sustained energetic consistency. Your journey into advanced manifestation requires understanding that the universe has provided you with an internal guidance system that operates with superior intelligence to any external advice or logical analysis you could ever receive. This guidance system is your intuition, which functions as the internal cashier of the cosmic bank, operating in real time with complete knowledge of where your good is located, who holds the key to your next breakthrough, and the perfect moment for you to take action. The hidden truth about intuitive guidance is that it doesn't operate through reasoning, arguing, or lengthy explanations. Instead, it whispers with a quiet authority that carries more power than the most elaborate calculations or strategic planning your conscious mind could devise. This whisper might come as a sudden impulse to call someone, an unexpected urge to visit a particular location, or a quiet knowing that now is the time to make a specific move. Behind the scenes of every seemingly miraculous manifestation, you'll find someone who learned to recognize and trust these intuitive signals rather than dismissing them as random thoughts or wishful thinking. They understood that their logical mind is excellent for organizing information and making practical plans, but their intuitive mind has access to a much broader field of intelligence that can coordinate circumstances in ways that exceed human comprehension. Your transformation accelerates dramatically when you begin treating your intuition as the most sophisticated navigation system available to you, rather than something mystical or unreliable. Just as you would trust a GPS system to guide you through unfamiliar territory, you can learn to trust your intuitive guidance to lead you toward the manifestation of your desires through the most efficient pathway possible. The impact on your decision-making becomes profound because you stop trying to figure everything out through mental analysis and start flowing with the intelligent guidance that's constantly available to you. This doesn't mean you stop using your logical mind. It means you learn to integrate logical planning with intuitive timing for optimal results. Your daily experience becomes incredibly rich and meaningful when you start recognizing the constant communication that's flowing between your conscious awareness and the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all manifestation. Every impulse, every inspiration, every sudden knowing becomes a potential instruction from your internal cashier about the next step in receiving your good. Now let me share with you the breakthrough technique for distinguishing authentic intuitive guidance from mental chatter, ensuring you never miss the signals that lead directly to your desired manifestation. Write in the comments, "I trust my internal cashier." The breakthrough technique for distinguishing authentic intuitive guidance from mental chatter involves understanding the unique characteristics of how divine intelligence communicates with human consciousness. True intuitive signals don't arrive through logical reasoning or analytical thinking. They come as sudden hunches that seem to emerge from nowhere, brilliant ideas that flash into your awareness during moments of silence, or insistent thoughts that persist despite having no apparent logical foundation. These are literally checks ready to be cashed in your cosmic bank account. The hidden truth about divine communication is that God speaks to the soul in clear whispers rather than spectacular revelations. Most people miss these signals because they're expecting something dramatic, a burning bush, a voice from heaven, or some unmistakable supernatural event. But authentic guidance typically arrives as quiet knowings that feel more like remembering something you already knew rather than learning something completely new. Your transformation accelerates when you learn to recognize the subtle but unmistakable quality of true intuitive guidance, unlike mental chatter, which tends to be anxious, repetitive, and filled with doubt. Authentic intuitive signals carry a quality of peaceful certainty. They don't argue with you or try to convince you through logic. They simply present themselves with quiet authority and then wait for your response. Behind the scenes of this communication process, your higher consciousness is constantly scanning the infinite field of possibilities, identifying the most efficient pathways to your desired outcomes, and transmitting this intelligence to your conscious awareness through intuitive impulses. When you learn to recognize and trust these signals, you gain access to guidance that far exceeds what your logical mind could ever figure out through analysis alone. However, there's a crucial challenge that most people encounter on their journey toward consistent manifestation, and understanding this challenge can make the difference between breakthrough and continued frustration. Your cosmic bank account has built-in security measures designed to protect the integrity of your spiritual inheritance. But sometimes these security measures can become blocks if you haven't learned the proper access codes. The three most common security passwords that block abundance operate like mental viruses in your consciousness, preventing the good you've been affirming from actually entering your experience. The first of these destructive patterns is criticism, particularly the habit of judging others for their success, their wealth, or their good fortune. Every time you criticize someone else's abundance, you're essentially programming your subconscious to reject that form of good in your own life. The second virus is envy, which operates as an admission of hidden powerlessness. When you feel envious of others' success, you're unconsciously declaring that you believe they have access to something that you don't, that their good somehow diminishes your possibilities, or that there isn't enough abundance for everyone. This energy of lack and limitation becomes a magnetic force that repels the very prosperity you're trying to attract. The third, and perhaps most destructive virus, is self-condemnation, the deep-seated belief that you don't deserve the good you're requesting. This might manifest as thoughts like, "I'm not worthy of this," "I haven't earned the right to prosperity," or "good things don't happen to people like me." These self-limiting beliefs act like spiritual antibodies that attack and destroy any positive manifestation before it can take root in your experience. Your journey toward consistent abundance requires developing what I call spiritual antivirus software. The ability to recognize these destructive patterns when they arise and immediately neutralize them before they can sabotage your manifestation efforts. The impact of clearing these blocks is immediate and profound because you remove the internal resistance that has been preventing your affirmed good from flowing into your experience. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough, you'll find someone who learned to maintain a clean internal environment free from criticism, envy, and self-condemnation. They understood that their external experience could only be as abundant as their internal acceptance of abundance would allow. Now let me share with you the powerful neutralization technique that instantly disarms these mental viruses and restores your natural capacity to receive unlimited good. Write in the comments, "I clear all blocks to my abundance." The powerful neutralization technique that instantly disarms these mental viruses draws from one of the most authoritative commands found in ancient scripture, a phrase so potent that it immediately restores order to any internal chaos you might be experiencing. When doubt, criticism, or feelings of unworthiness begin to arise in your consciousness, the most effective response isn't to fight these thoughts or try to argue with them logically. Instead, you command them with firm authority using the exact words that Jesus used to calm the storm. "Peace, be still." This biblical phrase from Mark 4:39 isn't just a poetic metaphor, it's a direct order to your internal emotional sea, immediately deactivating the mental turbulence that disrupts your manifestation frequency. The power of this command lies not in the words themselves, but in the authority with which you speak them. When you use this phrase with genuine conviction, you're essentially overriding the chaotic programs running in your subconscious and restoring your original prayer vibration. Behind the scenes of this technique, you're actually exercising the spiritual authority that belongs to you as a conscious being created in the image of infinite intelligence. Just as you have the ability to command your physical actions, you also have the power to command your internal states. Most people never realize they possess this authority over their own consciousness, so they remain victims of whatever random thoughts and emotions happen to pass through their awareness. Your transformation accelerates dramatically when you understand that you don't have to be at the mercy of negative mental patterns. The moment you recognize criticism, envy, or self-condemnation arising, you can immediately neutralize their power with this authoritative command. The impact is often instantaneous. The mental noise stops, your emotional field stabilizes, and your original positive intention resurfaces with renewed clarity. This brings us to perhaps the most crucial mindset shift required for consistent manifestation: learning to receive abundance without guilt. One of the most destructive beliefs embedded in human consciousness is the idea that receiving good somehow takes away from others, or that desiring prosperity is somehow selfish or spiritually incorrect. This guilt-based thinking creates an invisible barrier that prevents even the most perfectly executed manifestation techniques from producing results. The hidden truth about abundance that transforms everything is understanding that you don't take prosperity from others when you claim your own. You inherit what already belongs to you by spiritual birthright. The infinite mind that created galaxies, orchestrates ecosystems, and sustains all life operates from unlimited abundance, not scarcity. There is literally no shortage in the cosmic supply, only unlimited resources waiting to be claimed by those who have purified themselves of the guilt that blocks reception. Your journey toward guilt-free receiving requires recognizing that your prosperity actually serves the greater good rather than diminishing it. When you operate from abundance, you become a source of blessing for others rather than a drain on limited resources. You tip generously, invest in worthy causes, create employment opportunities, and inspire others through your example of what's possible when someone aligns with universal laws. Behind the scenes of this guilt-free receiving mindset, You're actually operating in harmony with the natural order of creation, which is designed for expansion, growth, and increasing good. Every seed that grows into a tree, every sunrise that brings new energy, every breath that sustains life, demonstrates that the universe operates from abundance rather than scarcity. Your receiving simply aligns you with this natural flow. The impact on your decision-making becomes profound when you release guilt around receiving. Instead of unconsciously sabotaging opportunities because you don't feel worthy, you begin accepting good with grace and gratitude. Instead of apologizing for your success or downplaying your achievements, you own your abundance as a natural expression of your aligned consciousness. Your daily mindset undergoes a complete transformation when you understand that guilt about receiving abundance is actually a form of spiritual pride. It suggests that you think you know better than infinite intelligence about how resources should be distributed. True humility involves accepting your inheritance gracefully and using it wisely for the benefit of all. Now, let me reveal the final technique that ensures your manifestation practice creates a legacy of abundance that extends far beyond your personal needs. Write in the comments, "I receive my inheritance without guilt." The final technique that ensures your manifestation practice creates a legacy of abundance extending far beyond your personal needs involves understanding the profound principle of the overflowing cup, a visualization that reveals the true purpose behind all spiritual wealth accumulation. Picture in your mind's eye a magnificent golden cup that represents your personal capacity to receive abundance from the infinite source. As you watch this visualization unfold, see divine supply flowing into your cup like liquid light, filling it completely until it begins to overflow. The crucial revelation embedded in this imagery is that the overflow, the abundance that spills beyond your personal container, represents what you're meant to share with the world. But here's the transformative understanding that most people miss. You cannot give from emptiness, and you cannot share what you haven't first received. This means that your personal prosperity isn't selfish. It's actually a prerequisite for serving others effectively. Behind the scenes of every great philanthropist, every generous mentor, every person who has made a significant positive impact on their community, you'll find someone who first learned to fill their own cup completely. They understood that attempting to help others from a position of lack and limitation diminishes both their own capacity and their ability to truly serve. When your cup is overflowing, your generosity comes from abundance rather than sacrifice. Your transformation reaches its highest expression when you realize that true wealth isn't verified by what you accumulate in your personal accounts, but by what you perpetuate through continuous circulation of good. The ultimate purpose of abundance isn't to hoard resources for personal security, but to become a conduit through which transformation flows into your environment, your relationships, and your community. This brings us to one of the most profound laws of spiritual economics. What isn't shared stagnates, what stagnates corrupts, and what corrupts is lost. This isn't a moral judgment, but an observation of how energy naturally flows in the universe. Every river needs both inflow and outflow to remain fresh and life-giving. Every ecosystem requires circulation to maintain health and vitality. Your personal abundance operates according to these same principles. The hidden truth about creating lasting wealth is that it must become a permanent transfer system rather than a static accumulation. When you learn to operate as a conscious channel for abundance, allowing it to flow through you to others while maintaining your own supply, you create what I call spiritual momentum that actually accelerates your receiving capacity. The more you circulate with wisdom and gratitude, the more the universe entrusts to your stewardship. Your journey toward legacy creation requires a fundamental shift in how you view your role in the cosmic economy. Instead of seeing yourself as someone trying to get your share of limited resources, you begin operating as a distribution center for unlimited abundance. This shift in identity transforms not only your financial experience, but your entire relationship with purpose and meaning. Behind the scenes of this legacy-building process, you're actually participating in the continuation of creation itself. When you receive abundance and circulate it wisely, you're extending the creative power of infinite intelligence through your individual expression. Your prosperity becomes a vehicle for blessing others, solving problems, and contributing to the elevation of human consciousness. The impact on your decision-making becomes profoundly different when you're operating from legacy consciousness rather than scarcity thinking. Every choice you make gets evaluated not just on personal benefit, but on its contribution to the greater circulation of good. This expanded perspective naturally attracts larger opportunities because you're thinking and acting on a scale that matches universal abundance. Your daily mindset transforms from "what can I get?" to "what can I circulate?" This subtle but powerful shift aligns you with the natural flow of creation, which is always giving, always expressing, always extending itself through countless channels of blessing. Now, as we bring together all these powerful principles into a comprehensive practice that will transform your relationship with abundance forever, I want you to know that what you've just experienced isn't just information. It's a transmission of possibility that has the power to reshape your entire reality when applied with consistency and faith. If you've stayed with me through this entire journey, you're clearly someone who recognizes the difference between surface-level motivation and transformational wisdom. You understand that true abundance begins in consciousness and expresses itself through aligned action. That tells me you're exactly the kind of person who would benefit from the deeper content I share on this channel. The principles we've explored today are just the beginning of what's possible when you learn to operate as a conscious participant in the cosmic economy of abundance. If you found value in this transmission, I'd love to have you subscribe to the channel so you never miss the advanced techniques and breakthrough insights I share regularly. Each video builds upon the foundation we're creating together, taking you deeper into the practical application of these universal laws. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Simply write, "This message was meant for me," so I know you received the full transmission. There's something powerful about declaring your readiness to receive, and your comment becomes another affirmation of your expanding consciousness. And if you felt that spark of recognition while we were exploring these concepts together, if something inside you resonated with these truths, take a moment to hit that like button. It's a simple gesture that helps this content reach others who are ready for this level of understanding, creating a ripple effect of abundance consciousness that extends far beyond our individual transformation. There's a video right here that complements this topic perfectly, diving even deeper into the practical applications of these cosmic banking principles. Click and continue with me over there, because your journey into mastering the art of spiritual manifestation is just beginning, and the next revelation might be exactly what unlocks your next breakthrough.